Project Mercury was started with the intentions of sending a man into space, having him orbit the planet, and then successfully return to Earth.
The program lasted from 1958 through 1963.
The United States wanted to put a man in space before the Soviet Union. The astronauts selected for the program were all ranking members of the United States military, with degrees in science and engineering. Out of 110 candidates, only 32 were selected for further mental and physical testing.
After all the testing, 7 men were chosen. During the selection and testing of the astronauts, unmanned missions were being conducted.
These missions were designed to test equipment and tools. Then in January of 1961, Ham, a chimpanzee, was sent into suborbital flight to test environmental conditions.
Later, in November of 61, chimpanzee Enos successfully completed a 2-orbit flight, proving it possible for a person to do the same.
Alan Shepard was the first American to enter space during the Redstone 3 mission in 1962. The Redstone rockets were composed of a 6-foot capsule covered in a heat shield.
On the front of the capsule, there was a long escape tower. Later, in 1962, John Glenn was the first American to successfully orbit the Earth.
John Glenn completed his historic mission in the Friendship 7 capsule. John Glenn orbited the Earth for 4 hours and 55 minutes. When he re-entered the atmosphere, he landed in the ocean to be picked up.
For his work, John Glenn received a Congressional Gold Medal. Gordon Cooper was the last astronaut in the Mercury program.
On his mission, he orbited the Earth over 30 times, spending an entire day in space. Cooper was the first man ever to spend a day in orbit. Women were also selected to take part in training for this program.
Sadly, none of the women were selected to be astronauts because it was believed they were not able to operate the spacecraft. Gemini was the following program that dealt with human pilots. In Project Gemini, crews of astronauts were sent into space, whereas single pilots were sent in Project Mercury.